Here we go. Hello and welcome. You are have found yourself to the working team meeting of the C4c Cardano for Climate, Project Catalyst, Cardano blockchain. You're here with a bunch of beautiful people. We welcome you, and today's day is 9/13/2022. We are working off an agenda document, which should be in the text somewhere around where you're seeing this. And we'll kick it off. Welcome, everybody. I see Nori, and I'm Newman. Daniel's here. Andre's here. Chakan is here. Yorm is here. Cole is here. Is anybody here that I did not mention? I've done the roll. Everybody? I think that's it. Okay. I'm recording to my computer, and I can also take some notes. If anybody else wants to take notes, you can take notes on the agenda document, which I shared in the chat, and I'll share again, and to make sure that everybody gets that. Boom. Well, we're here for an hour. The previous document, we talked about Impact Fests. A mini Impact Fest, we talk about documentation tools and a big spreadsheet for record keeping. We talked about accounting last week. We did the Miro board for the Chakans and the Little Fish Ikigai work, which I saw this week, last week, was really, really good. Some event planning, etc. That's what we did last week. And this week we've got, has everybody looked at the agenda and see what you might want to add? I love that when the recording starts, we get very quiet.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So while we put things in, I sort of seeded it with a couple of things, but while we look at the agenda document, we can warm up. I'm really excited. I think that the birthday celebration is an important thing, because it gets to the things that we are. It's like a planning or a reflection, you know, as well as a celebration. We're saying, oh, look at all the things that we did, and you know, we sort of appreciate, you know, it's a time to sort of take account of, and then sort of think about the next year, what sort of improvements we want to make. So I really like the birthday celebration. How did it go last week? I was not there. Yeah, okay.
We sang happy birthday.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's
this
all,
was next week. It seems to me like it was a month ago. I mean,
I know, it was hard to remember.
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Okay. What about
Actually, it was
Yeah.
a very nice talk next week. There was last week. There was a lot of new people also, and it was very, very nice one. Yeah, very energetic one.
That's cool. That's cool. You know, new people and onboarding is super key. And just as a concept, like these new communities, a community that like we're building, like being able to, here you go. New members are an asset, not a liability. Like new members that's just that's a mindset. So that when new members come, that they add and are quickly to the meaningful participation. This could be a topic that we could set the timer for and talk about for a few minutes. If an agreement.
Yeah.
Like what happens when new people come?
Yeah.
So this is an excellent question. Sorry, no, please, sorry.
Just looking on the agenda, and the new member onboarding, I think, is great. It actually ties into some of the new tools we're talking about as well.
Yeah.
Just taking a page from Little Fish, looking at their vault. The member onboarding pages there are pretty good. Like, they're really incredibly put together and evolving and continuously growing. I think we need something similar. And so that's where I think talking about a wiki or some other means of creating and maintaining documentation, links to onboarding videos, things like that would be really important. So I'd love to, yeah, talk about that in this meeting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's
And
yeah, go ahead.
I want to add one thing to that. Is something that we need to do, and it might be an opportunity to combine now with all of what we know. So it might be the fact that we waited a little bit is actually good. But we have an onboarding proposal that actually required a survey for Fund 8, and we didn't really do it. So I left the link here. And it might be time to do it and combine inside this questionnaire and form that we of onboarding for new people, we can combine some of the Ikigai question into that as well as a start. So happy to hear your thought about that. Might be time to push this one for Fund 10.
I kind of like it. I kind of like it. And we still, you know, like we still have time and attention to do that. You know, like what is it that C4c does? You know, what are our initiatives? And I think that onboarding, I think we have, you know, with our, I mean, we onboard for what purpose? You know, it's one of the nice things about the Ikigai is that sort of the purpose is just whatever the folks bring. You know, like they have some structure where it sort of flows in around these organizational units. And I guess we have those organizational units around our proposals, and which then kind of our working team, like events and education. But yeah, some alignment might be good.
Mm-hmm.
And new member is one of the things that we have a proposal for. So we've got like we align to our proposals. This is also something that we're learning from Little Fish. It's like the proposals are there, and then we align the organizations around those proposals.
So for me, we need someone to lead this one. Okay. This page and decide who is doing it. And if no one wants to do it, I will do it. And just lead this proposal and just take it forward. And then incorporate everything we know today, Little Fish, Ikigai, all of that part. And also parallel to that, sorry, it's not in the agenda, but we need also to close the Fund 7 proposals and get the rest of the money for that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely need to do the closeout stuff.
Yeah, I want to quickly talk about the Fund 7 proposals.
Just need to go 1 minute.
Okay. He has a line for Fund 7 proposal on the very first topic on this page. Oh.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Andre, you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna try and can you give me
yep. Let's get you some power. Power. Oh gosh, how hold on. Hold on. There we go.
If you guys need support with closeout videos, I'd be more than willing, and reports to help with that as well.
Awesome.
Did you get it, Andre?
Yes, got it.
Cool.
Thanks. See if it works. Just get my computer.
So, and there are 2 Fund 7 proposals?
Yes.
Yes.
Hub and events, I think.
Okay, can you see this?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, so we can pay this for the events, there's the monthly events and the weekly meetings. So in order to pay the weekly meetings, we will need the funds from the closeout report. But the monthly events we can pay. This is something I made a while back. I just tweaked it a little bit. So I think Melanie said we need to put a percentage aside for the preparation. So that is this section over here. And then here we can decide how much the hosts will get and how much the speakers at the events will get. There were only 3 events.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the speakers. That's how many speakers there were. So I think we can do this on Friday's meeting, just to everyone decide how much they think is fair, percentage-wise for these. And then whoever was part of the preparation, we can sort that out. It's a small budget. That is what was available for monthly for monthly events.
Okay.
The weekly meetings is exactly the same. So we just need to, for the weekly meetings, the attendees will get gimbals and the hosts will get data. And then we also need to decide how much goes to preparation and how much goes to the meetings.
So
we just need to play with these values.
Okay.
that's
amazing.
That looks really detailed. That looks great. Looking at meetings from like March through May up to June.
May, yeah.
June 22nd. That looks good.
Yeah.
We can do we have that link to that document? We can sort of peruse it as. But it looks
yes,
great. It looks like real.
It's in the Google Drive, but I can share it here.
Yeah. And that's a sort of thing. Yeah, once we decide on it, it's great. And I think quickly deciding on something like that is really, really good. And then if it needs and get it moved, like get it going and throughputing, and then we can sort of change. We say, oh, it's this, or it's sort of that iterative process, like getting the first step going. And then you can say, oh, it's working or it's not, and then you can move, but you can't steer a ship that's not moving.
The only thing that is missing there is to calculate the funds for the guy that is doing the closing report, right?
Yeah.
So because it was not part of the budget, and someone had to do it. And again, if no one does it,
we can make that part of the preparation percentage, and then take that somewhere else and split it up there.
Yeah. And for the events budget, we can probably take that out of the hub budget, because that's really what that was for, is all the admin stuff to keep the hub running. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Perfect.
And Andre, if we can set up a meeting this week at some point, then I'm happy to set the treasury guys up with the Fund 8 wallets, so that you're able to directly do the stuff you need to do with that.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I will talk to you in Telegram. I think maybe tomorrow sometime.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Andre. Let's move on to another topic. We've got a few more minutes, or if there's anything else to talk about for Fund 7 closeout.
So what's the closeout plan? Do we need to talk about that? Like, who's going to do it? Cole, you said you could do the video.
Yeah, I could do the report video. Whatever you guys need help with for those. I'm willing to start those up. I just need the proposals and like any information that was part of the.
We started to do the closing report. I actually started to support Simon on doing it and how to do it and everything, and then kind of didn't go through. So we can go through that together, and anyone wants to join, and let's just do it. The only question, if you want to just, do a closing report or to do something special, but we have so much materials and videos and stuff like that, but it's all time consuming, obviously.
Right.
So
Like
yeah.
for the community events, I could go through and like maybe take
choose
a couple
few,
little sections from like each one or a few different ones just to like
Yeah.
highlight the overview.
Yeah.
Like
And
what
these are-
Juanito did, and we can, that can be great.
Yeah, and it's
That's gonna
they're relatively. I mean, they're the things that we see at the beginning of the town halls each week. Is that right?
It's
Yeah,
supposed to be
so
a
it's-
2-minute video, so it's not
pretty
a
quick.
lot of people.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, it's kind of fits in with the whole like birthday celebration reflection. It's like, okay, what happened? And I love it when and most of them do. Like, I love it when people are like, yeah, that didn't work. It didn't work. Something went wrong. That's sort of real science to me. It's like if you're like, oh, everything's great. It's just like that's not real. It's not valuable to the community, because failure is almost more valuable, because then we're like, okay, don't try this, or so that, like, let's be sciencey, not markety. Marketing, I mean, there's nothing wrong with science and there's nothing wrong with marketing, but let's rather be more scientist-like than marketing-like. Yeah.
And yeah, definitely. And we need to share learning, and
Yeah.
And that's
Definitely.
basically, what being 1 year, being a 0 to 1 year old is all about. It's sort of like learning, right? But 1 to 2, we should get better, and we could get better. We have the opportunity to get better. I'm not going to should anything, because should is, I'm happy to keep going. Like, let's keep doing this. I love being in impact related. I love being working on climate and the sort of environmental crisis that's going on. It does invigorate me. It is part of my ikigai, and so I'm very thankful for all of that. Moving right along. Yep, thumbs up. What about? So what do you think next? Voting, impact lead generation, ikigai, new tools. I know that actually, if Daniel, I want to get you on deck. I want to talk about the SDGs and stuff. If you've got a little, if you've got like to when you want to start, we can start with you.
Yeah, I can do it. Can I share my screen?
Let's do it. Right on. Daniel. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Yeah, just to preface while you get ready, so take a breath. Daniel has been working with CardanoCube and Milo about categorizing the impact proposals and projects that are going on in Cardano and Project Catalyst. This sort of fits in with our big list and this idea of the sort of basic categorization of social versus environmental impact, but we want to go deeper, and Daniel has been putting some time and thought into this. So take it away, Daniel.
Yes, so as Newman mentioned, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. So as Newman mentioned, I reached out to CardanoCube. I told them I thought it was a great idea to make an impact category. Why is that? Because I think we can get exposure and help the sector kind of grow, and also help us with community building. I think if there is a place where people can go and put some projects in, we can go ahead and reach out to them a lot much easier. And as Nori was saying yesterday, I think we have to have a main framework of how we use impact and how we define impact. So that's the main thing. How can we do a main category in CardanoCube that defines impact? First of all, what is impact for us, or what should impact be for Cardano? We were talking about having a broad section or a broad category for impact could be a little bit tricky to know which projects should be in there. So we decided maybe we could start with tags for the projects. Let's say I'm a project that helps environmental or social or both. And also I think we should start working with a main framework that is globally used, that is the UN SDGs. So why everyone in the impact world uses SDGs, and I think we should start having that global framework for the projects in Cardano to help it grow. Also, I'm going to show it in a little bit, but Cole sent us an image with how the sustainable development goals fit with blockchain perfectly and what each sector can do with blockchain, and in an effort to standardize all of these so we can get more information and we can start having this framework. Of course, we think SDGs are a little bit tricky. I mean, I've worked with SDGs, but they are not that easy to understand, and there's a lot of sub goals under each category of the SDGs. And I think the first step is to start educating the people on these themes, on the SDGs. So I think we could do some Zoom courses. There's also tooling used by the SDGs to educate people and to kind of sort your project on which SDG you're attacking. This is the image that Cole found and how we can connect the SDGs to blockchain. And I think that should be great. The idea with the SDGs is that maybe not asking for an impact category right now, but having an SDG question in the application you sign up for CardanoCube. So when someone goes into the page of CardanoCube and chooses a project, they can see which SDGs they are directly or non-directly attacking. And there's also some tooling that actually IdeaScale used for the proposals straight from the UN, in which you can also categorize your projects on SDGs. And we can also do courses on these. I've seen a lot of people, well, I saw someone, I can't remember the name right now, but from the UN speaking a couple of weeks ago in a weekly meeting. And we could get those people, even Mihaela, if they work closely with the SDGs, to let the people know why they are so important and how do they work. And that's it. That's the proposal as of now. Milo hasn't reached back to me since last week. We were supposed to meet on Thursday, but I haven't heard from him. I think he's really busy, but as soon as I have something, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, well done, first of all, on your work. Incredible work. I just added in the link SDG tool that already was developed by the community and by AIM and by Cardano for Climate also and Sustainable ADA. So each proposal can easily use the tool to actually attach the SDGs they are working on. And I think that's cool. So each company, each organization, whatever that is listed in impact, it can show the impact on which you can copy from there on what is doing impact.
Yes, and actually Metera is also working, as we do ESG rankings for crypto assets. We have one specific tool for SDGs with blockchain that we are doing the last touches on it. So I wanted to show it to the group in another meeting so we can see it and I can go through it, and maybe we can make that public as well because it's only for blockchain, and maybe we can use that so people can also categorize their own blockchain projects.
Yeah, amazing. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Amazing work,
Perfect.
Daniel. Yeah.
Yes.
Why are
and
the
great
SDGs?
and great
Yeah.
and great for taking initiative and just not asking anyone and just reaching out to Cube. I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, everyone really is good that you do it, and you know it's your place as well. It's your location. It's your place. It's your home, and yeah, you drive it as well. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. Now, I do. I want to talk a little bit more about the SDGs and like how that tool got made, and then why it's difficult why are the SDGs difficult for me? I guess that's what I want to find out. Like, like, why isn't, like, when we made the big list, or like, why didn't we use the SDGs? Was it just like the scale of it is too difficult to like make everything fit, or
Have
like,
you
it just
used the
seemed like
SDG tool in Catalog? It's like SDGs are complex. Once you dive past the first level, it's like, oh my God.
Yes.
I think
Look,
that's what it.
I can actually share something. Look, this is like for goal 1.
Yeah, it's
There's
like
a-
legal. It's like legal stuff. Immediately, like my
Yeah.
brain's like,
Mhm.
oh man, oh God,
And
what are
there's
the
like 500
1A2
rows
thing?
on that.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's complex and it's hard to
It's
know.
very complex.
Yeah, but I think that's why education should be the first part, like letting the people know how it works and what's the idea behind it, and maybe we can start having this. I mean, I think it's hard when we talk about impact, because I think everyone has a different definition for impact, and based on what is your project, you tend to push towards one way. So I think if we do this globally, what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yesterday at Little Fish, we had a demonstration of DALL-E 2 creating art. We should feed in each of the subcategory things and have it generate a piece of art that makes it really easy to understand what it's talking about.
Yes.
Also, Zoom has a new gesture recognition system. So I held up my hand and it detected it and automatically put this up.
I want,
No way.
there's all
You
kinds
have
of
to-
things I love about that. Okay, so, but the
You have to
DALL-E
turn it
2,
on.
feed DALL-E 2 the SDGs. Okay.
One by
And,
one. As
also,
educational stuff, yeah.
Also, I think, Nori, you were talking about yesterday about this big database that is standardized. So I think always getting data from the projects. I think SDGs could be one part of this, that it's really useful information for all of the projects and for the future of Cardano. I think this should be included in that standardized database or standardized form, and we can start creating a big database for the projects. And also we could audit it. I mean, audit how the projects are thinking about the SDGs, which parts of the project attack it, and have something that's sustainable, and maybe do it open source as well, so that people have that database.
Yeah, I was thinking not a database, but actually do metadata and publish it to the blockchain. That way, anybody can query the blockchain and get this data and create their own UI to display it in whatever they want. Because we need to decentralize this data. We can't have it sitting behind one. Like CardanoCube's great, but they have a database and they can expose it to an API or whatever, but they still own that data. If we put it on blockchain, nobody owns that data. We all own that data. And we should be leading by example and saying, this is how you can use blockchain technology for traceability, for visibility, and what decentralization is really about.
Okay, great.
And that is, okay, go ahead, Yoram.
That might be worthwhile. I mean, this is such an important topic, Daniel, that you're raising and issues, and yeah, it might be worthwhile to have a side discussion about that as well, and see how C4c can be part of that. I think it's very important, and maybe even kind of present that in the main group tomorrow as part of the discussion, and start the discussion with the community who is interested to work on that.
That's a great segue into thinking about tomorrow's meeting. So this now, the spiral gets down as we get closer to an hour, and I want to try to finish, not go too much longer, but to go, what exactly do we want to present tomorrow in our weekly meetup? I like the idea of Daniel just making that presentation and talking about SDGs and bringing SDGs and the to the forefront, and to help people get over that fear, like I have, help me get over my fear when I see, it is crazy because I love it. I'm like, ooh, colors and all these things, and then bang, you get hit with the legalese, and I was like, oh no, I'm at the UN, I run from the UN. So education and SDGs, let's put that. Anything else for tomorrow's meeting for the planning the meetup is what we're getting into now.
Great. Yeah, I'll present tomorrow and I'll tell everything about this. I
Okay.
think it's a pretty complex work, and I would love to see tomorrow who wants to help me out and how can we create a little group to start planning all of this.
Mhm. I would love to input into there. One idea is Little Fish has kind of this artists colony. Maybe we can leverage things and work together to make the SDGs easier to understand through creating simple like cartoons or something that's not legalese and explain it visually what each one is about and the sub levels.
Love it.
I really think that's an amazing idea, and I'd love to support as well. The blockchain learning centers, I just dropped a couple like graphics we're starting to create, and for every SDG, they're going to create like a graphic and how it connects to blockchain. And then with every story we've highlighted through sustainable ADA, where we connect each project to the SDGs. So we're going to create like little graphics with like small explanation, like what SDG they're connected to, and like a few little like points on how they are connected to that SDG. And yeah, I'd love to, I'm already starting to do that stuff, so I'd love to help out.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I'm putting something in the Discord of Blockchain Learning Center right now as we speak.
So I'm imagining this image that you just put in, Cole, using that within an AI art where we just see a burning world and then we see empowered or something like that. Just merge those two things together and build something awesome. And I'll refer one of my friends who works on these AI arts. If she wants to come and help you guys out on any of this, I'll tell her.
That'd be amazing. That'd be so cool. And yeah, I'd really love to do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It sounds like we're fired up for SDGs. That's awesome. That's awesome. Because it is, yeah, I think it's important. I think it's something, it's a way that we can connect with a wider community. It's a way that we can bring all of our partners together, Little Fish, Blockchain Learning Center, the whole gang. We all generally have an education arm and it feels like it's an educational thing. So this might help us fire up the education part. Speaking of thinking of like the meetup planning, sort of going through, like what zone are we in right now? I guess it's sort of voting. Can we talk about voting for a minute?
We
like
should publicize the list and say, like, we have a Fund9 impact projects list that we've been building. We should definitely make sure people know that exists to help them look at stuff that they may possibly want to vote for, as well as our own C4c. We have our core proposals for C4c Africa, East Asia, DREPs, and then we have our three challenge categories. We should definitely make sure that people know about all those,
okay,
at least as a starting point.
And then really the proposals of our partners, right? Like, so it's sort of like our proposals, partnership proposals, you know, the folks that have been here,
Yeah.
and then the list.
And the list.
And man, I would love to get the list visualized in a way, because right now, again, it's sort of like you see the big spreadsheet, and I think we were trying to do it with the Miro board. I would love to visualize the list, even if it's just pulling it out into a real simple spreadsheet, and it's just like the name, the proposal, and the link.
I
Maybe
just put a link in that's a simplified version that Yoram, I think, created, if I'm not wrong. That basically has challenge category, some proposals, and then the link. So it's super easy to use for.
is that one ready to share and publish tomorrow? Because that would be awesome. Yoram?
The only thing I will be careful to share, the only reason I will be a little bit careful to share it for everyone, because I don't know if we didn't miss some of WADA's or some of the, I mean, there's always one that you miss, right? And,
Yeah, I see.
And I don't know if it's kind of official list of Cardano for Climate and we miss.
I think
yeah.
how can we get around that? Like let's use our brains here.
I mean, there is some of Cardano for Climate that shared right in our channels, different proposals, and I'm not sure that everyone is there. So I mean, it can be. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do.
Let me ask this: is it the full? Is this simplified version? Is it all of the ones that are on our big list?
No, because the big list is including 200, right? And this is including less. So
okay,
I will be very careful about that in the sense that, I mean, we cannot, I mean, what we can show is Cardano for Climate key ones, right? And maybe we can show top 20 list, but it's also, but definitely we need to show Cardano for Climate one, right? That's obvious. So the one that we have and regarding the rest, I don't know. I don't want to show. I don't know. I would be careful to show that Cardano for Climate prefer some than others.
Right.
I'd go with a list that is very short but very high impact. Like if you guys go ahead and show 200 proposals, that doesn't really help much in voting. But if you guys have a 20 proposal list that highlights the highest impact proposals, that's very useful to voters because they're going to be able to vote on 20 proposals, no issue, and you're going to be able to deliver high impact with those 20. But picking those 20 will make some people angry, of course.
Yeah, we cannot. Again, I don't think what we can do, I think it's interesting to do for next session, is actually the community will choose the top 20. I mean, or the top 40 or whatever. I mean, if we're able to do that, that will be interesting, right? So the community will vote which proposal the community should recommend in terms of the impact of the proposal, in terms of whatever. But it's a complex process to do, right?
The thing is there time for that? Because voting is already coming to an end. And I think—
No, this for next round, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now there's no time. Now I'm just to share something, but I will be careful as C4c to recommend something, right?
And I mean, would it be something that just we say, look, this isn't a pick list. This isn't our I don't know. I don't know really what the answer is, because I would love to get something out there. Like
I'd rather do something and get feedback and saying, how come you didn't include these things? And then that's good feedback for next time. If everyone's super happy, that's also good feedback. Like until we do something, we won't get that feedback and have those opportunities to improve for next time.
I think that's an important point. Because without the feedback, it's like, oh, it's not unfair. And then we say, hey, how do we make it more fair? Like, this is our best. As long as we make efforts to like, not just say, these are shit and these are the ones that you should vote for. These are the ones that we collected that were here and present and, submitted the forms and did the stuff. And, like, it's just like, there they are.
Yeah, for me, it's complicated. Just seeing it now, I'm not sure Daniel's one is there, right? And I'm not sure the Treasury Guild is there. And I mean, just thinking, even the people here, I mean, it's very complex. There is 1,200 proposals, right? And it's very complex to make sure that. I think my view that Cardano for Climate should not just make preference on some and not on others. That's my, but I don't know. I mean, your call. Just I just don't think. We should have started this process a couple of weeks before the voting, and maybe get each one to choose 20 top proposals and have the top 20 list.
Well, okay, yeah, like so that would be one way to do it. It's sort of like going to the video store and you get like, remember the old school video stores where it'd be like, Sally and David, here's what Sally recommends, and like up on the shelves and stuff. You remember that? It would just, and that I feel is the DREP thing. So I feel like this problem or this issue basically not wanting to be preferential, wanting to be inclusive, and sort of like it. How does a DREP going to do it?
Mhm.
And I think if we get, and this is just why I'm sort of, you know, thinking let's make some mistakes, you know, like, and I think that people, if we're open about it, and we are, because we're talking about it here on a recorded video. Hello, people that came to the timestamp about like voting and stuff. We want to be helpful to voters to try to pick out projects that they want to vote for, not exclude people or show our preference. So, but then what is our preference? And, you know, like, where is that appropriate? But C4c, we're sort of deciding, shouldn't show a preference. It should just highlight people that put their hand up and say, we have a positive impact in environmental, social, or according to these SDGs. Yeah,
And we have a really great crew here right now. Like, if everybody here can add the proposals that they think are super great, like we have the Treasury Guild, we have Little Fish, we have Daniel here and Cole for Sustainable ADA. Like, just with this crew, we can make this list even better, and fill in some of the missing things before tomorrow's thing. And then we have at least our best effort. Like, here's stuff that we crowdsourced.
Yeah, but just to give you one example again, I mean, first of all, that's great. And everyone here, please add, if we missed anything and you see that we missed anything, please add it. That's definitely to the list. And that's one. And but even WADA, I mean, I don't know, for example, all the proposals are here, right? Or I don't know, because we didn't control it in this way. Just some people put, I started something, then people started to add other proposals to that. And now we will add more proposals. And yeah, I'm just concerned a little bit because of this, and I think we should be indication. I mean, you know, when I vote, obviously it's a different process, but anyway.
Okay.
Like, it started with top list, and then anyway, it started kind of to evolve. But
Well,
I'm concerned a little bit about it, because then it become anyway 200 proposal list also, right?
Right.
Might be good.
Yeah.
Well, it just,
But
I mean,
each one's pretty simple. Like, each category, DAOs, there's like 6, maybe we'll have 10 after. That's pretty easy to just go through and do them, and then you go to the next category.
Oh, that was
Apps
easy.
integration.
You just put it down to a Little Fish.
that's an easy one. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Is it something that we want to talk about tomorrow at Wednesday in our meeting? So it's sort of a yes or no type of thing. I mean, it is what's going on. And then you can just, we don't have to do anything more. Like, so the thing is just like, here we created this, we tried to collect the impact related proposals, and this is what it looks like. It's the big giant spreadsheet with all that information. You know,
I think it's too late for that.
Too late for
That's
that.
my
Okay.
feeling.
What I would like to
That's
do.
my personal feeling. I mean, again, each one of us can update and add more links to this, and then you can share it. And if we missed anything here, please add it.
And I hear you.
But,
You know, because it's not as good as it could be, or it's not fair. It could kind of like cause issues. You know, now I realize that I'm maybe not listening to you as well as I should. Try to go help me to understand the hesitancy and the
yeah, I'm just concerned again. It's a list that we share as Cardano for Climate. I mean, unless we share it as an open, we say, okay, this is the last push. We started the list. Everyone that is missing from this list, please add yourself there, and we share it in Cardano for Climate all channels and Telegram, and then it become everyone's list.
Right.
Then it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay, and then people will go through that and see.
Okay.
But for that we have.
Yeah.
But for that we did the general list, right? For that we have the full list. Why do we need a separate list? We have the guide, the full guide, right? That we did on AIM. This one I share again.
That's a good question. Or, you know, like, I like the idea, or maybe this is how we do it. Maybe this is how we do it. Daniel, it's a great sort of suggestion. Like, we just say, okay, here are our proposals, and here are the proposals of our partners, and then here's the big list. You know, that could be, you know, that could be a good presentation to the community. And then I think that getting back to sort of the basics of supporting Catalyst members to vote. And then if somebody could just say, here's how I vote, you know, like, here's a walkthrough, like, this is what you need to vote. Is anybody having problems voting? I will tell you that I have not started my voting. I do think I've got the PIN and the QR code. So I might do that this afternoon. But just the idea is just, you know, the essential question is how do we support members in this phase of Catalyst? The phase of Catalyst is voting, so how do we support them? A list might be problematic, but yeah, go ahead.
We have the big list, and which lists all the impact-driven proposal, which is not that many. It's 200, right?
Yep.
So 200 per challenge is 20 top per challenge on average, right? So everyone can go through this list as an indicator and vote for the proposal that he wants to vote for.
And then, you know, yeah, I think that's simple. So let's just, we'll put the.
I will not just start opening now a new list. I mean, I think next, I would love to do next round, if you think it's useful, that we ask everyone to choose his top 20.
Okay.
And then we can have top 20 of, you know, 100 members, and kind of show the community, okay, this is the most rated proposal by the community, by C4c community.
Cool. I like that. Let's
and that's inclusive, and that's, you know, yeah. I'm concerned again from yeah. I don't want that it seems that we are not inclusive or so on, and I think yeah.
Yeah, and if we get voted in for Fund 10, we're going to be C4c as a DREP. So we need to figure out a good community way of organizing this as an output, because we're actually going to vote and do it as a community.
So for tomorrow, let's make a slide for the proposals of our partners, and we could ask them. You know, I know the Little Fish has a slide of all the proposals. We can ask Sustainable Ada, the Treasury Guild, Matera, you know, like we can, you know, WADA has one, and they're not that many, and we can just say, hey, look, here are the things. We could make it into a spreadsheet or a document so that it's easy for the voter. You know, again, like assisting and helping, supporting voters in, you know, in the Catalyst members. And
it's cool to do a voting that is based not on the voting that we see, but based on the impact that we see of the proposal. So the voting has to be different voting than the normal voting, right? So which proposal we believe can do the most social and environmental impact, right? And then we choose each one, choose the best 20 or the top 20. I mean, and somehow we can put in the process what Daniel spoke today, how to evaluate the impact and kind of include that as part of the process, right? And then we have a full process with that. I think that can become something powerful, because we say this proposal might not get the highest PA reviews, or it doesn't, maybe it doesn't know how to write the best proposal, but this proposal will be the most impactful based on the Cardano for Climate community. And
I think you shouldn't
Yes.
be scared of hurting any feelings. I mean, saying it from my own experience, I know I have not been much time here in C4c, and I think you've already given a platform to a lot of proposals so they can get the word out, and they're getting to a lot of voters. And I don't think you should be scared to say, like, look, these are the people that have been closest to us, that have helped us the most, and this is the proposals we are currently supporting as a main list, but we also have a huge list, and we have given everyone an opportunity to speak. So I wouldn't be worried of hurting those things.
No, I hear you. Yeah, please check in.
So
Yeah,
I think at some point you guys will have to be opinionated, of course, especially if you're going to be D-reps. That's the job. But you can put it in such a framework such that it is known how you come to make those decisions. And if it is known and public and open and transparent, people will come to understand. And if they don't understand, like, there's nothing to do about that. Like, you would have to offend someone to get something done. Like, it just has to happen that way. But you can just be really open about it if you create a Google Doc that tells you, okay, we made all these decisions by this method. And you will also say that this method is not perfect. Of course it's not. The list is not perfect. Of course it's not. And all of these things are understandable. And I think if you do it that way,
I agree with you.
risk.
I agree with both of you, but this is not the process that was created for this specific test, right? So if we have this process and we have a good explanation why we choose and so on, and then we explain it, I agree with you. We can make some decision, but the question is who is C4c, right? Is it because everyone is, yeah, please, Daniel. Sorry.
No, I was saying goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Daniel. See you
Yeah.
later, man. I appreciate you. We'll see you
no,
tomorrow.
it was saying
It was
goodbye
Andre.
to Andre.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Andre, he's already even gone. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys, but I think we should think about it and not before we do it, right? And then explain it and present it accordingly, and then go out. That
So for
That's my
tomorrow, how
impression.
about we just push the C4c proposals and our challenge settings, and then maybe drop a link to the list.
yeah, I
and
love
then,
it.
you know, and then for
So,
next time we can have something more formal.
Okay. Yeah, and we're still I think next week is still voting. Next Wednesday, I think voting stops
No.
on Thursday of next week.
On Monday, this Monday, I think.
Oh, okay. This is our last one for voting.
On
Yeah.
the 19th, yeah.
But this clip of the video is good for, how we talked about like how to support people that are voting and this list. So this would be a great little, reference material to go back over. But for tomorrow, yeah, let's just our proposals, the C4c proposals, and a link to the list.
Is C4c presenting on the European Town Hall on Thursday?
Good
Mauro
question.
sent the link. I think it's the last opportunity to have one of those spaces. So I think someone should present for C4c. It's at 3 p.m. UTC.
Tomorrow, 3 p.m.
Thursday.
I might register for that. Yeah,
It's on Thursday.
it's on Thursday, 3 p.m. UTC. Let me check 1 second my calendar. And Nori, I think if everyone wants, we have the other call also now, right?
Yeah, I need to jump to the Plutus PBL or the.
Okay. Yep. And
Can you
you know what
share
I'm going to
the-
do is I'm going to shut off the recording. Say bye, everyone, to the recording. Bye to the recording.